I1 and I0 at the same time. Okay, so according to our result, we decided to use the bound test integration because our result is mixed I0 and I1 and does not include I2. So by choosing the bound test, the first step of bound test is to estimate the unrestricted error correction model. This is the first step. Then, in the second step, the corrective significance of the coefficient of one leg dependent and independent variable are tested by word test. Okay, so we did this in order to determine the existence of relation between the variables. This is the unrestricted error correction model for our study. With this equation, we apply the optimal leg to make the bound test. So let's pass to the optimal leg selection for bound test. The optimal leg selection stipulates what? It stipulates the minimum AKK and Schwarz and not having the autocorrelation problem. How, when can we say the AKK does not have the autocorrelation problem? It is when the probability in the parentheses is greater than 0.05. So in my study, the minimum AKK is 3.76, the last one, and the minimum Schwarz is 4.480. So in my study, I prefer choosing the minimum Schwarz. There is 4.480 because it doesn't have a autocorrelation problem. Its probability is greater than 0.05. So we have the result from bound test. Here, K is 2 because we have two independent variables. That's why K is 2. And the F statistic, through the word test, we found that F statistic is 7.706. And I compare it to the critical value, to the upper bound of critical value. Why I don't compare it with the lower bound? Because we have the mixed results. We have mixed results I1 and I0 in the Eylul test. So in that case, I compared the F statistic to the upper bound. So by the time that F statistic is greater than the upper bounds at 1%, I will say that this supports the integration relationship between the variable because the F statistic is 7.706 and the upper bound is 7.52. So the null hypothesis of no quantification is rejected. So this supports the integration between the variables. So let's come to the long-run coefficient. Here, this is the auto-regressive distributed leg model. As you can see in the table, the coefficient of foreign direct investment is significant because the probability is less than 0.05, and the coefficient is minus 0.3 and something like that. And the domestic investment is significantly positive. That means what? That means that foreign direct investment in Guinea have a negative impact on GDP. Okay, because the coefficient is negative. And domestic investment has a positive impact on GDP, on economic growth in all of Guinea. So this table is written as a question down here. GDP equal, this is the constant. It means that if foreign direct investments increase at 1%, the GDP decrease at 0.3%. And domestic investment, when it increased at 1%, the GDP increased at 0.5%. This is the explanation of the table. Okay, the result of error correction model. The error correction model shows the short-run impact of the variable, the short-run impact of the independent variable on the dependent one. Here, the important thing is what? To how the error correction model can support the relationship. It is if the negative, the last coefficient down is negative and the probability significant. And this is the case. It is significant and negative. So this supports the configuration between the variables. The short-run impact of foreign direct investment on GDP is significant and positive. And so that there is a positive impact of foreign direct investment on economic growth in the short run. But the domestic investment, it's not concluded because we have both positive and negative sign. So this is what I just explained. So from RDL, so from autoregressive distributed leg model, I come to result of Toda Yamamoto causality test. I did this test to show up the causality between the variables. And in that, I found out there is a bidirectional causality between foreign direct investment and GDP. And there is a unidirectional causality from domestic investment to GDP, and from domestic investment to foreign direct investments. So let's come to the conclusion. So according to the empirical analysis, we found out foreign direct investment and gross fixed capital formation in Guinea. And there is a configuration, according to Bantes, there is a configuration between the variables. I mean, foreign direct investment, uh, domestic investment, and economic growth. And the long-run coefficient for RDL model indicates a negative impact of foreign direct investment and a positive impact of domestic investment on economic growth. So it means that foreign direct investment impact negatively the economic growth of Guinea during that period. And the domestic investment impact positively the economic growth of Guinea. In the short run, the influence of dependent variables is determined by the estimated Eylul model. The result show that economic growth is affected positively in the short run, okay, by foreign direct investments. And for the domestic investment, not concluded because we got both positive and negative signs. Last one? No, not last one. It was. Let's try first with the arrows. Okay. And sure, let me tell you, the law impact in general. We see that there is a law impact of foreign direct investments on economic growth in Guinea. So this law impact can be explained, okay, by the political instability. Because let me let you know, in Guinea, anytime there is a presidency, we face a lot of political instability. Then the law of quality of infrastructure, that's true. Then the weakness of institutions and the weakness of the human development. But we notice that foreign direct investment has a negative impact on economic growth. So this can be explained by the repatriation of net income of foreign investors and sometimes national investors outside the country. Sometimes when the foreign investor invest in Guinea, because of the political instability, they prefer send their profit, their income to the outside of the country. And even the national investor, they do the same. Then the investment policy adopted by the government of Guinea is not appropriate to the level of the development of the country. So according to this study, because Guinea, the foreign investors are investing in the mining sector, only in the mining sector. In that, they use the greenfield investment. So according to this study, brownfield investment is better for my country, for Guinea, because with the brownfield investment, foreigner will measure, okay, will measure with the national firm. So in that, the employment can increase. I don't say that with the greenfield, the employment doesn't increase, but with the greenfield investment, the foreign investor always come with the workers, with the human capital. They don't take much employers in the host country. So thank you for your attention. So it's a pleasure for me to receive your questions.
Thank you very much, Charles. Very long time. Gülçin Hocam, do you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you?
Yes, we hear you. Let's just close the door. Let's see Gülçin Hocam. Let's stop the
Screen sharing.
screen sharing. Just give me a second. I guess that wants to. Oops. Did I? No, not yet, right?
No, not yet.
I did.
Okay, right now?
Right.
Yes, it's done.
Yes, okay. Now you also see Charles. So
Yes. Nice to meet you, Charles.
Once again, thanks to you for being with us. So, Hocam, let's start with you. And from far away, you are with us. So, let's start with your comments and contributions and criticisms.
Okay. Thanks again. Thank you, Charles, for your presentation and all of your efforts for writing this